YouTubers, welcome back to AZ to Ozarks. You will notice that we just changed the name of the channel, and that is because our family relocated to the Missouri Ozarks. So we're really excited and we are in our new home, so you have to excuse the way it looks. We're in the middle of a kitchen remodel right now, so things are a little bit in shambles, but I didn't want to keep you waiting for a new recipe. So today I want to share with you my favorite gluten-free bread recipe from a mix, and this is the one here. So Pamela's bread mix is the one that I just love. It only requires a couple extra ingredients and it is easily purchased on Azure Standard. I'll put a link down below so you can pick up some of this bread mix. And this size here, it's the 4-pound bag. It makes approximately 4 loaves of bread. So it's a really good value if you are following the gluten-free lifestyle and you need to avoid those kind of grains. So let's go ahead and get started. I will be using a KitchenAid mixer for this recipe today, and the first ingredient is 3½ cups of the gluten-free bread mix. Next is 2¼ teaspoon of active dry yeast, then 2 large eggs. Next, you will take a measuring cup and you will fill 1/3 cup with oil. I prefer to use coconut oil, and you may have to get it melted before you use it if your temperatures are cool. Like today, it's 67 in our house, and so it's really cool. You can also use vegetable oil, which stays in a liquid form. Next, you will fill, after the 1/3 cup of oil, you'll fill up to the 2-cup mark with warm water, and then add 2 more tablespoons of water. And then this just gets poured in, and that is your final ingredient. Using this mixing attachment, we'll go ahead and mix it on slow for about 1 minute, and then we will mix it on medium speed for another 3 minutes. Now that the batter is all mixed up, we will pour it into a greased bread pan. So I like to use a spatula for this part to get all of this extra off of here. I like to use a stoneware pan. I find it has the best results. This is a 9 by 5 inch pan. You can also use a metal pan. If you do, make sure to put a cookie sheet underneath it because this has a very long baking time and you don't want to burn the bottom of it. Now to spread it out evenly, I will wet my fingers in order to spread it because otherwise it will just be very sticky and stick to the spatula. So with very wet fingers, I press it down and smooth it out. You might have some extra water on hand because it is very sticky. And I'm sorry for the poor lighting. We are going to put in some better lighting in this kitchen. I'm getting a lot of shadows right now. Hopefully you can still see it okay. Okay, now that we get that smoothed out, I will allow it to rise, and really this depends on the warmth in your kitchen. When my kitchen was very warm, it would rise in about 20 minutes. It can take up to an hour. So we want it to rise. It will come up over the top of the pan and it will just begin to get cracky on the top, and that's when it's ready to go into your oven. Make sure you used a greased piece of plastic wrap over the top so it doesn't stick to the surface. This batter has been rising for close to an hour now, and you can see what I was talking about with the cracks that start to form. You don't want it to get too cracky because then it's more likely to deflate during baking. But this one, you can see it's coming up over the pan, so we're domed up nicely and we have cracks. Now I'm going to put it in the oven, a 350-degree preheated oven, for between an hour and 1 hour and 10 minutes. The baking time really does vary depending on your oven, so you're gonna have to work with it a little bit, but let's get it into the oven. If you still have a long way to go in the baking and you're worried that the crust is going to get too dark for your preference, feel free to give it a wrap with aluminum foil over the top. And especially if you're not using a convection oven, this is not a convection oven, and that'll help keep it from getting too dark. Until you get comfortable with how long it takes in your particular oven, I recommend giving a skewer test, or essentially this is a giant toothpick. You can see that it did not come out clean, that it has been 1 hour of baking, so I'm going to put it in for another 5 to 10 minutes. You do not want it to have these little sticky bits on the stick. With gluten-free bread, it's very easy to underdo the center. So let's give it a little bit more time here. It still has a little bit of debris on there, so I'm gonna give it another 5 minutes. That'll put us to 1 hour and 10 minutes. Test number 3. All right. We're looking better. I think I'm going to take it out and give it a try. This oven is a little bit different for me, but about 1 hour and 10 minutes was correct in my convection oven. So let's take it out and let it start cooling. When you pull the bread out of the oven, you want to almost immediately get it out of the pan and lay it onto its side in order to keep it from sinking. So it definitely has a tendency to sink. So first you'll have it on one side, and then after about 10 minutes, put it onto the other side. Once you have allowed the bread to cool completely, you can begin slicing it. Now this type of bread you don't want to slice while it is still warm, because you want to make sure that it doesn't fall apart. Now that I'm getting used to a new oven, as this is the first time I've made it in this oven, my crust came out a little bit darker than I like, with a couple of burnt edges on the sides here, where probably if I had wrapped with aluminum foil more carefully around that, it wouldn't have happened. But the crust on this bread is generally pretty dark like this. It's nice dark brown. And really this is my favorite kind of gluten-free bread because it has a texture that is closest to regular wheat bread. And so it's slightly chewy, slightly elastic. It's not crumbly and dry like gluten-free breads can be. And I'm happy with this kind of bread. It's my favorite kind of all of the mixes that there are for gluten-free. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more recipes in the future.